So it's day number 7 on board the Oasis of the Seas. And we are in the back of the ship in the Aqua Theater watching the Oasis of Dreams. This first little bit of footage here comes from Maria's cell phone. You know, they don't really like people filming this. So we're sort of standing against the back of the wall here, trying to film it and not look like we're filming it. And this is coming now. The rest of this footage is off of my GoPro. And, you know, you could almost picture the scene here. I'm standing here holding the GoPro filming this, and every time somebody walks by, I have to pull it down for a second, you know, and then bring it back up, film some more, try to film as long as I can, put it back down, bring it back up, you know. It's 5:30-ish in the afternoon. This was on a Saturday. And the sun was just coming. This is like October 1st, so it's late summer, right at the beginning of fall. Summer's coming right down in on us from actually that back corner or that side of the ship, which I guess would be the port side. And we're on the starboard side looking at the show, so the sun's right in our eyes. It's very hot. You know, still a great show. I love the show every time we go on one of the Oasis class ships. This was our 3rd cruise now. We always try to book the Oasis of Dreams show as soon as we can to make sure we get a chance to see it. We were originally supposed to have seen it on day 2 or 3, and they had some kind of a mechanical issue or something with one of the sensors, and they had to bring a part in from another ship, and they had to postpone our show all the way until the last day on day 7 in the afternoon. But we still got a chance to see it. But ordinarily we would have been seeing this at night. Having seen it a couple years ago in the Allure, it's not that much different. A couple parts of it look a little different, but it's still kind of the same show that you see on the Allure of the Seas. Probably would see it on the Harmony of the Seas, and I guess on Symphony when it comes out. But if you've never seen it, it's really good. Even if you have seen it, you know, you just definitely want to try to catch it again. It's one of the unique things that you'll see on a cruise ship that you won't see anywhere else. And it has a lot of different parts to it. They do a little bit of theatrical stuff, you know, where there's not a lot of diving or anything because they're sort of telling a story. Some parts are acrobatic, some parts are diving. You'll see parts towards the end here where they're coming down off of the top areas of the ship all the way down to this area on a big, like a tightrope thing or something. There are times when the divers are actually diving off of the 2 spears that go way up, and they were so far up there, and we were all the way against the back wall that we don't get a very good shot of them. You just sort of all of a sudden see them come down and hit the water. So, but it's a great show. If you've never seen it and you're planning on going on one of the Oasis class ships, you definitely want to book make your reservation to see it. If you ever get a chance to do the behind-the-scenes tour on one of the Oasis class ships, it's about $150 a person. It is amazing if you're even remotely curious about the ship. It's typically at least 4 hours long. I think when we did it on the Allure one time, it was almost 5 hours. They literally started at the back of the ship in the dining room, went all the way up to the front, went all the way down to where they do the laundry, the engine room, the bridge, I mean everything. But one of the areas that they briefly touch on is the Aqua Theater at the back of the ship. And we talk a little bit about some of the technology and how they raise and lower the platforms, how they handle the water. There are actual scuba divers under there, you know, for safety, and they've got this thing just down to a science in terms of the timing of it and the sequences that happen, and you know how all of this works. And they also talk a little bit about if the ship is moving too much, or it's too windy, or any kind of things like that, then they can't do the show because the waters, if you look at that, that's such a narrow area for them to land in. And if the ship's moving around too much, I mean, that's an awful lot of water. And it goes down like 15, 20 feet down. And so there's so much water there that there are only certain conditions they can do the show, essentially. But they touched on it a little bit during the behind-the-scenes tour, and I think this was our third time seeing it, and again, it's definitely worth it. The GoPro Hero 5 does a pretty good job recording this. You know, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm standing back here essentially just trying to hold the camera steady as possible. And it does a good job capturing the audio and kind of giving you a good feel for what's going on. Those LED walls, or the big screens back in the corner, those things are amazing. They're huge. They're, you know, 20 feet high and 40 feet wide or whatever. And they really help accent the show. The show is a little better to see at night versus in the afternoon. But as I mentioned earlier, there was some technical issues, so we didn't have a choice. If we wanted to see it on this cruise, we pretty much had to do it in the afternoon on the last day. But the 2 times before, we've seen it at night, and it's definitely better at night. But all of the divers and all of the gymnasts, everybody involved in the show, they're in tremendous shape. And there are times throughout the cruise where you if you're walking around on the boardwalk back there, you may see them doing some practicing for the show. I know we've seen it at least once or twice on the previous cruises on the Allure, where we just happened to be back there and they were doing some practicing for it. So this is coming up here in a second. This is kind of the part I was talking about before, where they start to get way up there in some of the acrobatics, and you'll see the person sliding. See right there on the harness going across the top, and they were so far up there, I pretty much had to come off of the back wall and kind of move up a little bit in order to capture it. And of course, it becomes a little more obvious that I'm standing here holding the GoPro recording. And there you go. There you see right there how they're diving off of the upper parts of the spear thing, the platform they're going up. But that's probably a good 40, 50 feet up in the air. I mean, it's amazing to watch them do this. When you consider how narrow that water is and how, you know, there's not much room there. I don't know if they have a training facility on land for this or not, if they have to do all of the training on the ship. They have never mentioned that before whenever they've talked about how this show works. It kind of made it seem like they do the training on the ship, though, so I guess best thing to do is kind of simulate the actual environment when they're doing their training. So this was Saturday afternoon, day 7. We're almost done with the cruise. Coming up in the next clip or so, we're going to have some footage from the dining room, our last night, where we kind of say goodbye to the waitstaff. And we did the My Time dining, but we still had the same waiters every night. We got lucky there. So that's coming up in the next clips. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell icon so you can be notified when I post a new video.